This is a short clip from the movie Maltese Falcon 1941. Let's see what we find peculiar with it.
Harry, what is it?
The stuff that dreams are made of.
Huh?
A preposition is a word you mustn't end a sentence with.
Prepositions is a vast subject. You can easily get overwhelmed by it. I went through about 30 hours of my lectures just to make sure that I pick and choose the right sort of things to say within these short videos. This is the first video of 10, and I have tried to answer most of the questions that I get from my students, and have tried to address most of the misconceptions that I usually counter in my classes with my students. Before you start the video, make sure that you have a pen and paper handy so that you can make a list of all the difficult words that I use in this video. In this video, we shall learn about the word prepositions, its definition, the meaning, and how do we identify them. So prepositions is a broad term. It has a fancy definition which reads the class of words which are used to express spatial or temporal relations of a certain noun with some other certain noun or a pronoun or a noun phrase or a pronoun phrase are known as prepositions. Also, that prepositions can also express semantic roles of certain objects with those nouns. So this fancy definition does not serve our purpose. We shall look at conventional terms and those which are being used on a regular basis. Now, what do we mean by these fancy terms? The spatial aspect usually involves talking about the location, direction, or movement of a certain noun. The temporal aspect usually talks about time, but it has different sorts of dimensions in time as well. Time might be progressive, it might be stationary, it might be a time period or a time stamp. In all these references, we have different sorts of prepositions which may be used in different sorts of ways. Now, in order to identify semantic roles of certain prepositions, we might just simply call them referential prepositions. It would be easy to call them so, and we shall elaborate on this later on in this video. An easy explanation to understand prepositions is to say that prepositions involve three things. They could either tell you about the location, the time, or the reference of a certain noun. Hello, I'm the lexicologist. Today we shall look at the word prepositions. Okay, let's look at the word. The word stem is position and the prefix is pre. Okay. I wonder if there is something called a postposition. Well, yes, there is. In fact, these two terms cumulatively are known as adpositions. Now, there are many similar terms known as interpositions, circumpositions, ambipositions, inpositions, and many more. But we just have to carpet bomb them and just call them prepositions unapologetically just to make sure that we understand and keep it easy. English language usually has prepositions or prepositions. It has some very rare postpositions and we shall talk about them later in the video. So here's a list of most commonly used prepositions. This list is not exhaustive, yet it is comprehensive enough for us to understand what prepositions are, how do we identify them, and what sort of words can be included in prepositions. There's cutlery on the dining table. Notice that the word on tries to represent a spatial or positional relationship between these two. Cutlery is a noun and dining table is a noun phrase. Also notice that such prepositions are influenced by three aspects: vertical, horizontal, and contact. Now let's look at the same preposition in a very different role. Here, the cat is sitting on the dining table. The position of the cat, however, is not on the dining table, but the dining table has been used as a reference point. That's why the role of the preposition is not to indicate the location of a noun, but to refer to a certain other noun. Now here's another example for the same preposition in a different sentence. I want you to focus on how this preposition is focusing on the semantics rather than the spatial aspect. Now let's look at a postposition example. Postpositions are used exactly as prepositions are, only that when you are trying to construct an adpositional phrase, you would find that the object comes first and the adposition or the postposition comes later. Have a look. Now here are the most error-prone prepositions that I have found over the last 14 years of my teaching the language. Comment below the prepositions that you find most challenging or you tend to mistake often. I take your leave with the list of difficult words that I have used in this video. I hope you can match your list and find meanings and perspective to such words.